Just a word of warning, Nico and everybody else, I have to leave right at 6:55 p.m. So we've got 55 minutes to make it jam-packed. And just to recap, guys, of what we're going to be accomplishing here, me and Nico promised to do this session with you guys where I'm going to show you guys behind the scenes of kind of everything that I did to build a 2 comma club funnel, a funnel that did $1 million in a year. So you guys can see behind the scenes of an internet business that did $1 million. And then also what Nico's going to do is he is going to attempt to help me double my business in just the 55 minutes that we have right now by creating a chat bot for this funnel. So it should be pretty exciting. So Nico, it's 6 o'clock. Should we just go ahead and get started here?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. The session's being recorded, so we'll be able to send it out to everyone who wasn't able to make it live.
Okay, cool. So I'll just start it off here, guys, and we'll get talking. By the way, yeah, it looks like there's not everyone's on here, so if you guys have questions, we should have time to be able to answer them as well. So let's just get right into it here. Let's go ahead and I'll kind of give you guys the background of this. So kind of what my business is we help people start what I call digital cash flow businesses, essentially internet businesses that are low investment to get started, that are easy to scale up into a full-time revenue stream and great for scaling business up to like $1 million or so. And so we help people get their time back. We help people quit their jobs and learn how to market and do business effectively on the internet. And so I actually, our business, kind of how it works is we have a few different packages that we sell, ranging between $2,000 and $10,000, $2,000, $6,000, and $10,000. And kind of the different levels are dependent upon how much help people want. So, for example, we have a $2,000 home study course that basically teaches people, and they work along with me and we do it together. Then we have a $6,000 group coaching thing, which is kind of like this, where we get on as a group and I walk people through the process. And then we also have a one-on-one segment where I actually work with people one-on-one, and Nico was on the one-on-one coaching program. That's actually how I got to meet Nico. And so anyways, to give you guys an idea more about like the marketing and the sales of how we actually did that, because that's kind of the important thing, is how do you actually market and sell something. I'll draw it up here for you guys, and I'll show you. Am I sharing my screen, Nico? No, I'm not. Hold on. Start sharing. I got to install a Demio plugin. Huh. Oh, add extension. See how long it's going to take us.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yes, refresh. Let's see.
Okay, you guys. Looks like undefined is presenting. Okay. Hey guys, little bit of a tech glitch there. I'm not sure 100% what happened. Caleb, can you still hear us? Okay, he says, oh no. Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I
cool.
can.
Okay, I think the audience can still hear us too. I'm not sure what happened with, I'm gonna make you presenter again. It like, everything went away when I'm not sure what you did. It probably had to do with the plugin.
Okay.
But you're presenting now, so.
Okay, I'm presenting now. Let's see if I try to share it now. Share window or screen. Okay, there we go. Your entire screen, share. Cool. Yeah, I've never used Demio, so this is cool. I like it. It's good. So it looks like I'm sharing my screen now here. So to give you guys kind of the rundown of how we did it, is you know, I know there's guys that are kind of on all different stages of where you're at in your business, but kind of the thing that we've been really good at is use the internet to generate leads, and then we like to take people onto the phone. And a lot of our business is done selling over the phone, because it now becomes a dynamic sale versus a static sale on the internet, where you can't really overcome objections that well. But over the phone, you really can, and you can get to know the prospect a lot better. And especially works good in our scenario where you're selling stuff like anything over $2,000. So the way our business works is we use the internet to generate leads, and then we bring them onto the phone, and we do consultation sessions. And if it was a good fit, then we would sell them one of our packages, whatever one they wanted, or however much help they wanted. So to give you guys an idea of how our process works, and I'll give you kind of the basically, we used an automated webinar sales funnel. I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with sales funnels, but kind of the way that an automated sales funnel works, the basics of it is there's a registration page, right, where people come, they put in their email, and they get registered. Second page is there's usually some sort of automated presentation. And at the bottom of at the end of the presentation, people have the opportunity to apply. So they'd fill out an application, and then they'd get onto the phones with us. So that's kind of like the high level overview. And I kind of break it down for you guys page by page of the way that we did it. And again, this funnel, we didn't really change anything to it. We got it working, boom, and then we ran with it all the way up until it did over $1 million last year. So here's how it worked. So we ran ads on Facebook, and the key here, I think the main reason why we were able to do so well is because the key to converting somebody that's completely cold traffic on Facebook and getting them to become warm leads and getting them to actually buy your stuff is to warm these people up. So the key thing that we did was we actually drove all of our ads to a blog page, and this page felt like, read like a blog, where it was a blog, but sparkled in there was places where people could register for the training. Just put an R for register. So people came to the page and they didn't think that they were getting sold something. They didn't think that they were registering for a webinar. They just thought they were coming to a blog article. And so we sucked them into our copy and got them to know me, my story, and what we were talking about, and provided value to them on the blog. And then we had them register for the webinar here on this page. After they registered, it basically just took them to a little countdown page where it counted down for like 5 minutes. And there's a little video of me getting them like all excited about the webinar. And then after the 5-minute countdown page, we took them to the actual webinar. And we used just the perfect webinar script. If you're not familiar with Russell Brunson's perfect webinar script, that's kind of the same format that we used. And then we had, around like the 40-minute mark or 30-minute mark or something like that, we had a button pop up where they could apply. Next page, we took them to an application where they basically filled out an application. Now, this is the key for selling high ticket, is getting people to apply, because it totally changes the dynamic of the sale. It's no longer, I'm selling you this, I'm pushing this on you. It's these people are actually filling out an application to join what we have. And so they're proving themselves to us in the application, which is the huge psychological switch that needs to happen, especially when you're selling high ticket. So after they filled out the application, they went to a scheduling page where they basically just booked with somebody on my team's calendar. And then the last page was just like a thank you page that kind of got them ready for the phone call. So this is kind of the wireframe of what it looked like. Now what I'll do is I'll actually go in and show you guys the different pages and how it worked. And then, yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, I'll answer you guys' questions. So let's see here. I just had downloaded all of the screenshots of what the pages look like because I wasn't sure if my internet was going to be strong enough. So let's see here. Okay, so this is the first page. So the first page I talked about was that blog page. So I'll show you what that looked like. I'll make this bigger and bigger. Okay, so this is what this page looked like. And to give you guys an idea of what the ad looked like, the ad said this exact same thing. It had this exact same headline. It had this picture of me and Tony Robbins. Obviously, we advertised to Tony Robbins' audience, so there's a perfect ad to audience match. And that's one of the keys with advertising is like you got to have the right ad, but you also got to have the right audience that you're advertising to. And so this was just a perfect fit. And so as you guys can see, it kind of looks like a blog article. There's a lot of places where people could click and click here. They could click on this little blue button. They could click here on this blue button here. Anywhere they clicked, it elicited a pop-up where they could register for the training. And again, I'm in this blog article, I'm basically telling my story and give you guys an idea of like a really easy story formula that I like always use, that you can use too in your marketing. Is I do this. I always tell my identity or my backstory or who I am. So, you know, my name's Adam Winnig. I'm an ex-athlete from California, not some tech guy. That was my identity, right? Then second thing I talk about is like my struggle. My struggle was like I had invested tons of money into online courses and I was trying to figure out how to make money online, but I found myself like in a bunch of debt and like, I'm not going to get into my whole story and whatnot, but the struggle. The third thing is the discovery that I had. I had this big discovery that all I really needed to do to make money online was to figure out I needed to learn the highest paid skill online, which is turning advertising into profit consistently. And the fourth one is the results that I got from it. So the results that I got from it, once I learned how to do this highest paid skill online, I started making money. I started having freedom. I paid off on my debt. I became a millionaire. And then the fifth thing is the call to action. So giving some sort of call to action. And I use this always in my marketing. This same story formula. It works for anything. Like if you're in weight loss, hey, my name's Sue, and I'm from Kansas, and I really struggled with weight loss. I tried Jenny Craig, and I tried this, and my husband didn't want to have sex with me, and like I was uncomfortable in my bathing suit, and I didn't want to take off or show my stomach. And then I made this discovery that there was this thing called the tomato soup diet. And I started drinking lots of tomato soup, and magically I started melting off weight. And now I'm confident and like I feel sexier than ever. And if you want the same thing, then what you need to do is you need to, go buy the tomato soup ebook that teaches you how to lose weight with tomato soup, right? Obviously that's kind of a funny example, but that is the idea. So point I'm telling you in that is that's exactly what I did with the text, with the text of this article. Was I told my story and tried to get people to have the same aha moment that I had. And so here I'm talking about the struggle. I felt like I disappointed. It sucked. I had this dream. And anywhere again where they click, it would elicit the pop up for them to register for the training. That's I'm explaining like here, and then here I'm talking about the results. Like I made $170,000 in a month, and it's crazy. And then just adding credibility of me speaking on stage. And then Harrison's trying to help me get some money. I don't know if you guys saw that text, but that was a good text. Yeah, anyways, I was just telling it, and then I have them register, right? The call to action is down here to register. So that was the whole idea behind the blog article, and I recommend you guys doing it. I mean, it's really good for getting cheap registrations or cheap leads, because people they get sucked into it. It's different than what everybody else is doing. And I just went through the same process. I saw this article about this brain supplement, and it was like an article, and I really thought it was an article. And so I started reading it, and next thing you know, like they're selling me on this supplement. And I end up buying the supplement and whatnot, and they use the exact same strategy. So it's really brilliant, because a lot of times readers are buyers. If you can get them to read this, they're going to buy a lot of the time. So that was the first page. Okay. The second page was the countdown page. So let me show you what this looks like. Essentially, it's nothing fancy. Here it is. There's just a video of me getting them hyped about the webinar, what's to come. There's a countdown timer over here to the right. And then I just try to load them with testimonials, so that way they like actually show up and they actually watch it, so they know that this actually works. So I tried to put a bunch of testimonials down there. I guess I didn't capture the rest of this, but that's kind of it. There's a video, there's a countdown timer, and then there's testimonials below. And there you have it. Next page is the actual webinar page. So this is where we're actually doing the presentation. And there's nothing really fancy about this page. All it has is the headline up top. It has the video, and it also has a place where they can chat with the speaker, and then it has basically what they're going to learn, the 3 skills or the 3 secrets that they're going to learn, and then a bonus for sticking to the end. And that is that page. The next page, if you guys, so the next page is to apply. So after they watch the webinar presentation, they come to actually apply to work with us. And the idea behind this is that we're trying to get them to prove to us that they are, that they're somebody that we want to work with. And so again, it's the whole psychology flip of boom, like get people to like apply to work with you, get people to prove themselves to you, and the sale becomes so much different that way. Again, the bottom is just testimonials. I'm just, again, trying to flood them with testimonials, proof that it works. The next page was just the application or the scheduling page. There's nothing really fancy about this. I'll show it to you guys, but it was literally just the scheduling page, and there's some testimonials before. So scheduling page, we use schedule once, and it schedules with them there. And then the last page is what we call the homework page, okay? And the homework page is just getting them prepared for their call. And what we try to do on this page is we tried to actually get them to call into us right now, to call this phone number, because the people that call in, they're really hot. They want it right now, right? So there's a video here basically telling my story, and then we're trying to get them to call in right here. And they can click that phone number and call. And here I'm just trying to load on credibility. Again, I was in entrepreneur.com, to Comma Club, the Entrepreneurial Times, Me with Billionaires. This is actually Nico's testimonial. This is, other people's testimonials, and just trying to like hammer them home with proof that, hey, like I know what I'm doing. I can help you. Look at all the results I've gotten for people. And so that's that. That's pretty much the entire funnel aspect of it. The last thing that is, and I don't think I'm going to get into it too much, but the other part, actually, the main part is like, yes, this is the system that we use to generate leads, but a lot of the magic comes, sure, in the marketing on the front end, but also in the phone sale on the back end, which we've got a team of people that are really, really good on the phones. Anyway, so that is that. I'm trying to think. One of the things that I wanted to give to you guys is that share funnel. So I promised you guys I'd actually give you that share funnel of what I actually showed you so you guys could use it. Here's the one thing. So to give you an idea, like here's inside of my ClickFunnels account, there's, as you can see, a whole bunch of pages, and it may seem overwhelming. You can delete most of the pages. Basically, you need the blog page, which is here, countdown page. And again, guys, this is a really nice looking funnel. I paid a designer a lot of money to make this for me. And you guys are getting it for free. Anyways, you'll get the idea. And then all these extra pages down here, you guys can delete those if you want to. You don't really know them, but I'm not going to change anything just for ease on my end. So this link, when you click this link, it'll actually download into your ClickFunnels account. If you don't have a ClickFunnels account, it'll ask you to sign up for a ClickFunnels account, and then you can download the funnel. So again, by the way, disclaimer here, don't steal my stuff. Don't copy my stuff. You can use this format if you'd like to, but just please don't steal it. And again, you're gonna have to change everything, right? The domain names and all this sort of stuff. If you're running ads, you need to take that out and that out. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about that kind of more technical, minor stuff. But I do see that we have questions going here. So I'm gonna answer these questions here. I see Dipankar has a question. So he has a really good question. He says, when you're starting out, you don't have any credibility established. What kind of blog pages can we set up? So this is great. So I come from the network marketing world. And when I got started in network marketing, I didn't have any success. And I was trying to tell like my friends and my family members and my associates and everything like that, that you got to get into this thing. If you get into this thing, like you can become really successful. But the problem is that they'd say, oh, okay, well, how much success are you having? I'd be like, well, I haven't made any money yet. And they would be like, okay, well, come back to us when you actually make some money, right? And so that's kind of the result that you'll get yourself if you try to do it the way that I did it. But what I learned was that the way that you get started is that you don't talk about your success if you don't have a success story. What you do is you talk about other people's success. And so what I started doing when I would talk to anybody else was I'd start telling this guy, Brad Alkazin's story. He was a top leader in my company. And I would start telling his story. Let's see. I'm just going to put this on and stop sharing my screen. Yeah, to me. But anyway, so I didn't have success, and I was trying to sell people on, like, you could be successful, but they saw me and they know that I didn't have any success. So they're like, eh. So I started telling people that, hey, like come over to my house. We're going to do this meeting thing. And when I would do the meeting, I wouldn't talk about my success. I would tell this guy Brad's success story. So I'd say, guys, hey, I'm brand new to this, but I want to show you guys what's possible. This is my friend Brad Alkazin, and basically he started just like 3 or 4 years ago, and basically he, is now making, I don't know, he's making, like $100,000 a month or something at the time, maybe something like that. So this is my friend Brad Alkazin. He's making $100,000 a month, and they actually got to see his story and hear his story, and so now they knew that this was actually possible. And because I made that connection or that edification, then people would sign up into the company. And so you're thinking like, okay, well, what does that have to do with, internet marketing or getting started online? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing where you don't necessarily have to talk about your success story, but talk about somebody else that's had success using a similar system or has had success, I don't know what exactly that you're selling. But that's how you kind of get around that is leveraging other people's success and other people's stories is how you really want to get around it. Hopefully, the bunker, let me know if that makes sense. Hopefully, and maybe you could share some insight on what you're actually selling, and that would help. So, by the way, guys, I put the share funnel link here inside of the chat. So you guys can click on that chat, that link, and it'll get you the funnel. Let's see.
Yeah,
So that
save that link for later too, for the people who can't.
Cool.
Come on.
Right on. And guys, that's exactly how we did it. So kind of the last thing I'll tell you is all we did was once we had this, this funnel set up, and I'll draw a simple one, but like, they put in their email. And the second thing is there's this presentation, right? All we did was is we knew that, hey, if we could spend $1 on advertising, and when people come and they buy on the phone, we can make $2, then I knew that we could just keep spending money. And so we just kept giving money to Mark Zuckerberg on Facebook, and we were able to scale it to a point where we had some months where we would spend like $10,000 and we would make over $100,000 in a month. And so once you get the conversion machine dialed in, then it becomes kind of just a scaling game where you just spend more money on ads and you you make more, right? So that's really how we do it. I mean, or how we did it. There's a lot more that I could talk about, but I think that's the basics of it. So now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to pass over to Nico. Unless you guys have questions, I'll answer them now. But I'm going to do. Caleb says he actually got my USB drive a few weeks back. Awesome, man. Cool. Hopefully it came in the mail already. I don't know. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it goes right away. So I don't know. So anywho, oh, you got it. Okay, cool, Caleb.
Cool.
Awesome. So anyways, now here's the deal. So now Nico is going to build a short little chat bot to try to help my business go from $1 million to $2 million using chatbots, which all you guys signed up for the chatbot course. So congratulations to you guys. That was a really smart decision. So Nico, let me just tell you kind of what I'm thinking, and then you can go in and work your magic here.
All right.
And I don't know if we'll have time to get it all done, but we can get a good start, and maybe you can show people what you're thinking. But so basically, Nico, I'm thinking that if we can do it on this blog page, because I'm going to start doing more of these blog pages for different markets, but keep sending people to the same presentation. So if we could have something like, boom, you know, we're writing the copy, and then like on these buttons, I know you can do it with like a ref URL inside of MANYCHAT. If when they click on one of these buttons, that triggers the MANYCHAT sequence. And if we could do like a 3-day thing to, you know, try to get people back to the presentation, I think that would be awesome. And I know that you did one for me for my mini webinar, so maybe we can use some of the stuff from that. And it won't have to be anything too fancy.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a great plan. And yeah, I wanted to check with you to see, it sounds like we're going with the blog page strategy. So yeah, what I'm going to do, you guys, I'm going to try and switch over my screen. Okay, so I'm the presenter. And hang on just one second. Application window. Okay, so you guys should be able to see my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
I think so. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like Adam just said, what we're going to do is we're going to be creating a 3-day bot sequence that's going to trigger when people click on, hey, Adam, do you know by any chance, is this the right, would this send us to the page so that we can like look at it, or is this not the right one? Just so we can see it on the screen.
I don't know exactly what that is.
Okay, well, let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
Might be.
Oh, yeah, I think it is. I'm not positive. That could be my other blog. Can you see the URL there?
It's weird. It's like not, I don't know why it won't let us see the published. Huh. Do you know the URL by any chance?
Yeah,
it's really weird. It's not letting it. Okay. But yeah, so basically what we're going to do, you guys, is we're going to, the blog page that you saw earlier, we're going to be able to, or I'm going to show you guys how to set up a 3-day bot sequence that's going to basically push people back to the presentation, because we have to kind of think where people are in the marketing journey once they click on that button and they enter our bot. So once they've already, so basically what they're going to do is they're going to click on Adam's ad, and then they're going to land on the blog page, which we're going to hopefully be seeing here shortly. Cool. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to be, you know, scrolling through Facebook. They're going to see Adam's ad, which looks pretty much exactly like this. And then they're going to click on that, and they're going to land on here on this page. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be crafting a bot sequence that's going to trigger whenever people click on this button. Okay, so for those of you guys who have gone through part of the course, or you've started looking through the chatbot course so far, you guys know that there's a thing called a ref URL. And if you haven't gone through the course yet, you're just like, this is kind of your first intro to that, then that's totally cool. You're going to see inside the course, there's a lesson about how to use these things called messenger ref URLs. So don't worry if you haven't gotten started with that. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a messenger ref URL. And essentially that's just a link. It's just a link that you can use. You can embed it into text, just like right here. You can also embed it into a button right here. And what happens is whenever people click on that link, it triggers the beginning of a bot sequence. So I'm going to show you guys, and that's how we get them into the chatbot, and then how we follow up with them over the next 3 days to get them to watch the presentation and then eventually complete an application for the program. So is that making sense, everyone? Let me know if you guys have questions about that. and I'll check in a second. But so what we're gonna do right now is the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna create our growth tool here. By the way, you guys, so I'm logged into Adam's account, so it kind of makes sense. You want to make sure that whatever Facebook page, I think actually, Caleb, we were talking about this before. You can have multiple different Facebook pages and you can have multiple different ManyChat accounts, but you're just going to make sure you're going to have one ManyChat account per Facebook page. So again, that's covered in the course and everything, but you just want to make sure that you've got your ManyChat account hooked up to your Facebook page that you're going to be running ads to. So this is the same Facebook page that Adam is going to be running those ads with. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go over to growth tools and we're going to click on a new growth tool. And then I told you guys we're going to be using a messenger ref URL. So again, if you haven't gone through the course yet, totally cool. You're going to see what this is inside the course, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on this. And we're just going to call this, let's see, Tony Robbins blog page URL. And so again, you guys, this is a URL that whenever someone clicks it, they're gonna get served this message that we're gonna type up right here. And then we can also add them to a sequence at the same time. So we have the intention of what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a bot to trigger whenever people are clicking on this button here. So we have to kind of imagine where our audience, like what they're kind of doing and what they're kind of thinking right now when they're going to be clicking this link. So we see they're here on Adam's blog page. They're learning about how he's created this super cool internet business and how we're learning about his story and his background and things like that. And so what we want to do is we want to craft a message that once they click like register now, so this would obviously be, this is capturing the email right there. But what we're going to do instead when we're using this bot that we're creating, we're going to be able to get a URL, and I'll show you guys that in a second. We're just going to embed that straight into the button. So the second they click this, they're going to get the first message that we type up in the bot. So what we're going to do here is we got to think, okay, they're reading through Adam's page, they're getting familiar with his story and his content and things like that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to craft a message that kind of makes sense to, you have unsend changes, okay. That kind of makes sense to fit that scenario. And as you guys can see, all you did was click edit. We don't have to do any coding or anything. If you guys have started playing around in ManyChat, you can see it's really, really user-friendly. So you literally can just type in the text. You can add in images and emojis and all that. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to say like, hey, first name. And you guys can see here it's going to automatically pull the person's first name, which is pretty cool. We can say, thanks for registering for the free webinar on how I created a magnetic? Yes, magnetic. Love that word. Magnetic 100K a month. Is that the title of the webinar, Adam? I forget. Or is it the No BS Digital Business Training?
We can maybe play off the hook of like, hey, thanks for registering. I'm going to teach you the highest page. I'm about to teach you the highest page to go online. Now I built, $120,000 month business.
Okay. So I'm about to teach you how I created 120K per month internet business and how you can get started creating your own digital business in the next 30 days. So something like that. Basically, we want to get people, we want to hook them, we want to make sure that they're excited. And we also want to make sure that if we're not, it doesn't have to be the exact title, but that we're mirroring kind of what we told them that we're going to be giving them right here once they click. So they're not confused and they're not wondering like, okay, well, what the heck is this chatbot like sending us? We want to make sure that we're very clear on what they're going to be getting from us. And so right here, we're just going to tell them, yeah, thanks for registering for the webinar. I'm about to teach you how to create, or how I created this 120K per month internet business and how you can get started in the next 30 days. And then so the next thing that we're going to do right here, and you guys don't necessarily have to do this. I like to ask sort of like a question to get people interacting with the bot, to get people just sort of like interacting with you and your brand. And so what I like to do is like something like, I can't wait to teach you this incredible information. And then like first name. And you can say like, are you excited? And then I also like to do some emojis like pointing towards the button. If you guys are familiar with, darn, I actually forget the marketing concept right now, what it's called, but having like arrows or things that are pointing towards the call to action. And then we're just going to say like, basically we're just going to say like, heck yeah. So basically we want to just, this is called trial closing. Is that right, Adam? Basically we want to get people saying yes to us like as early on in the process as possible. Is that what it's called?
Making micro commitments is what it's called.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Yeah, so that's kind of why I do that. Basically, we just want to get people conditioned and familiar with, saying yes to us. So that's all that I do there. Just really simple. And then what we're going to do here is another tool that you guys are going to get familiar with in the course is Flow Builder. And this is basically just, it allows you to do exactly the same thing, but visually, it's way easier to build like a bot flow sequence. So basically what we're going to say is we're going to say, once they say heck yes, then they're going to receive this next message here, which is indicated by the arrow. And we're just going to say, awesome. I can't wait to see you there. Click the link below to get access to the waiting room. We're starting in just a few minutes. And so that if you guys are not doing, so this is obviously an automated webinar. If you guys are doing live webinars, and of course it might be a little bit different, you might want to wait to deliver, you're definitely going to want to wait to deliver the training room link until, you're going to want to wait until it's actually time. But since we're doing an automated webinar, we can give them the link like kind of right away. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to do click the link below to access the waiting room, since Adam has a waiting room of like a couple minutes. We're starting in just a few minutes. And so what we're doing here, guys, is we're getting them to interact with our bot, and we're delivering the actual like URL, like the next step in the funnel. The only way that they can get there is through the bot. So we want to make sure that we're doing a really good job of getting them excited, building that commitment, building the excitement, and then getting them to take action and move on to the next funnel step. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some more emojis and maybe like a clock, something like that. And then we'll say, let's see, go to, I'm actually not sure if I like go to waiting room. Let's see, we'll say get started. And then this would be the URL to, what we're going to do here is we're going to give them the URL to the waiting room. Adam, do you have that, or do you want to not really want to worry about that, getting the actual URLs? Hey, Adam.
Right here.
Okay, cool.
And I'm going to put it right there for you, Nico.
All right, sounds good. So let's just see what this looks like. Cool.
So Dipankar, yes. So basically when people get to the blog page, Nico's setting up so when they click the register button, it'll trigger the Facebook Messenger bot.
Right. So audiences. Okay, and another good question, Dipankar, is, so would you ever give a no button? Like, are they not excited? I would not. I just wouldn't do that. Honestly, like you're kind of pushing them to say like, you want them to be excited. You're kind of pushing them to say yes, even if they're not like super pumped up. You want to basically you just want to be building that commitment. If they're not excited, like they're just not going to respond. I mean, you don't really want to even give them that option necessarily. You can just I would just ignore that, honestly. Or if you have one thing that I do, if I'm sending a lot of messages throughout the day, though, one thing that I might want to do, let's say it's a broadcast message, sometimes I do actually include an unsubscribe button. This is not what I would not do this like in the first message on an automated sequence, but this is more for like broadcasting. Sometimes I do include an unsubscribe because if you think about it, with email marketing, anyone can unsubscribe from an email from any email that they want. With bots, it's a little bit harder to do that, and most people don't know how to unsubscribe. And so what they'll do if they get upset with you or something, like they'll probably just like report your bot instead. So sometimes when you're doing broadcasting, it's good to include an unsubscribe button. But for this case right here, yeah, I would just ignore the no, and yeah, you just get them to say what you want them to say. Cool. So this is going to get us, this is the first message right here, the first flow. And so what we would do here, you guys, is, let's give this a better name. Actually, yeah, okay. Probably renamed that, but. And so what we would do here is we just click setup. Oh, we got to save it. And all we're going to do is we're going to grab this link right here, just copy it to the clipboard. And then if Adam were like logged in inside his ClickFunnels account, what he would do is just like go to the whatever you would call that text editor, and then just embed the URL right here, and also embed that into all the call to action buttons here, so that it would trigger the bot sequence. So that's what we would do for the first message. The next step is, there's kind of two steps. We've got this initial message right here that's going to get people to take action like right when they're signing up for the webinar. And then we also want to follow up with them over the next couple days in case they don't actually watch the webinar or they don't actually go to fill out an application, which is what we really want them to do at the end of the day, right? So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to build out a quick sequence that's going to go on the second day, and also on the second day. Sorry about that, guys. That's going to go on the second day and also the third day of the sequence. And what we're going to do here is we actually have to build out the sequence first before we can add it in here. So we're going to hop out of this growth tool area for a second. We're going to go over to automation, and then we're going to click on sequences, and we're going to create a new sequence here. And then we'll be able to add this in later and hook it up to that URL. So it's going to be, looks like there's already some stuff called Tony Robbins. So I'll call this Tony Robbins blog, like new, and then we'll just call it like live training, just so you know, Adam, that this is one we created right here. Cool.
Could you name it and put in parentheses Nico?
Yep, sure.
Just instead of live training or whatever. Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool. Okay, so now again, you guys, we want to kind of think of the experience that we want people to be going through when they've entered this chatbot flow. So what we're going to do is we already know on day one, which is immediately right after they click on the button, they're getting that first message that we sent them. So they're already kind of getting enough messages for the first day to get them to take action, get them to watch the webinar, and then hopefully fill out an application. So we're not actually going to set anything for, what you can do here is you can set the time. Again, basically this is kind of like an autoresponder sequence. So you can space out the bot messages really however you like. So if you wanted to, you could send an automated message like immediately right here, but then they would be getting kind of two messages at the same time. So instead we're going to wait until the second day before we send them another message. So this is actually going to be, right here it says this message will be sent at least one day after they're subscribed to the sequence. They're going to be subscribed immediately, and that kind of counts as day one. So this is really going to be the second day. It's after the day that they subscribe. If you guys have any questions about that, you can let me know, or you can post in the Facebook group afterwards. But pretty simple to just pick, space it out one day. So this is gonna be the second day. And what we can do is we can just say, hey, first name, did you get a chance? And so one strategy that I like to use with chatbots, you guys, is you want to be, you don't want to be like, you don't want to come off as pushy, because people are going to get like really annoyed really quickly. So you just kind of want to be like, you want to keep it simple generally. You want to keep it, pretty light and fun. Like I really like to use emojis just because it keeps it kind of, it's kind of unique, right? Like you don't really see too many people using emojis in emails or anything like that. Chatbots are kind of a unique tool right now, and there's a lot of ways that you can kind of differentiate yourself from others. So I really like to use emojis. It kind of lets your personality like shine through a little bit. And again, you also don't want to be pushy. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask a really simple question. I'm going to say, did you get a chance to watch the webinar? Because basically we just want to know if they actually watched the webinar. Because that's kind of our goal with that. And then that's pretty much it. We're just going to ask them. If they say, we're going to give them two options. We're going to say yes, and we're also going to say no. And Dipankar, this is a little bit different of a situation where we do actually want to know. In the previous example, we were asking like, hey, are you actually like excited about this? We don't really want people to tell us that they're not excited. In this case, we do want to know if they didn't get a chance to watch the webinar, okay? Because then we're going to send them back to the webinar if they didn't get a chance to watch it. So right here, what we're going to say is, I like to put like emojis here too. You don't have to do this either, but why not? So the button title, yes. So when people do watch the webinar, we'll have to select the next step here, but I'm going to go over to Flow Builder. Again, this has the same functionality. It just looks a little bit simpler. And okay, so when they say yes, we'll say something like, awesome. Make sure, so like Adam was saying, and Adam, I know you have to hop off in about like 7 or 8 minutes. So if you do, I think I'll be finished by then, but if you have to go, then by all means, just hop off, and then I'll take care of everyone's questions. But yeah, so we've got this message that we're replying to, or that we're responding with when they say yes. If they have seen the webinar, then at that point that they know that they need to apply to the program if they want to join Adam's program. So in that case, we're going to say, okay, cool. Like you've seen the webinar, you know that you need to apply. So we're going to just remind them to say, and we're going to say something like, make sure you make sure application to join. Adam, do you call it? Yeah, I think you do. You probably do call it Global Dream Builders program, like in the webinar, right? Make sure you fill out your application. You do?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Make sure you fill out your application to join Global Dream Builders today. Spaces very limited. And I would hate for, let's just say something simple like don't miss out. So we were adding like a little bit of scarcity there because space is not, the space is limited, like if we don't have unlimited spots. So space is very limited, don't miss out. Click below to fill out your application today. And then we'll just put a couple more emojis. And then right here, we would send them to the application page. So Adam, if you have the application page, then I can put that, or is it just like apply, or I don't know if you, okay. Cool. Oops.
Okay, coming in hot. There it is.
All right.
Dude, you make it look so easy.
Well, you guys, the reality is, like, if you just I kind of like to think of it as an email sequence, but with the ability to kind of respond to what they say. So if you kind of think, for those of you who are familiar with email marketing, you can kind of think of it that way to kind of shortcut the learning curve. But if you are familiar with it, or if you're not familiar with email marketing and you're kind of just brand new at everything in this whole marketing world, then yeah, you really made a great decision to join the program, because I've got all this stuff covered, and I'm happy to help you in the student group as well. But yeah, so the next step right here, and then if they say no, basically what we're going to do is we're going to just say, we're going to say, like, okay, well, basically we want to get them to watch the webinar. So we're going to say, make sure you take some time out to watch the webinar today. It won't be around for much longer. Click below to watch now. And then this would send them to, I think this would send them back to the actual webinar room. So
Webinar replay. So I put it in here for you too, Nico.
Right. Okay, cool. Now webinar replay 1. Oops, I don't know what the heck that's doing there. We'll just delete that. Cool, so now we're basically just following up with them, asking them to see if they saw the webinar. And then if they did, we're saying, cool, fill out your application now. If they didn't, we're saying, okay, well, you got to go back and watch the webinar, buddy. So that's all we're going to do for day 1. So we're saved there. Oh man, where did this go? Here we go. We just have to turn that message on. Oops. And then, so they're getting that on day 2, and then we're just going to create a quick message for day 3. This is just going to be something like very simple, like, hey, first name, put in some emojis. Today is your last chance to watch the webinar before we pull it down. Make sure, hey Adam, do you want to have a button that to the webinar room and to tell them to apply, or just to the webinar room? Like, do you not want them to see the apply now button this early?
I only want them to see the apply button if they've watched the presentation.
Okay, so then maybe we should just link them only to the webinar room here.
Yeah.
Cool. Make sure you watch it now before it's too late. And then we'll do something like, and then let's see, so webinar replay. This looks so clean. Caleb, I'm glad you think so. Yeah, MANYCHAT's really, really great. It makes it like super easy to just build all this stuff really, really quickly. So absolutely love it. Yeah, so that's the sequence, you guys. Let me go back here. So really it was just that initial message. We're going to go back and I'll show you guys how to hook that up to this really quickly, but it was just day 2 message, and then we're also going to make sure that and then this is going to send on day 3, because this is spaced out after the previous message. So this is going to send on the 2nd day, and then this one's going to send on the 3rd day. So that was it. The final step is just to go back to the growth tool. So it was this one right here. And all we have to do here is just make sure that we add the subscriber to the sequence that we just created, because it wouldn't show up in here until we've already created and saved it. So here it is. And then all we have to do is save, and that's it. So what's going to happen is when people click on this button that Adam is going to put, or when people click on this link here, that Adam's going to embed into his ClickFunnels page. Once they click that, they're going to be getting this initial message here, and then they're going to be added to that sequence and get those messages on day 2 and day 3 to watch the webinar if they haven't done it already. So does that make sense, you guys? Cool. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So Adam, I know you have to hop off. So if you want to go ahead and sign off.
You know, I actually have until 7. I realized that my next appointment was a little bit later, so I could, if you guys have questions for me or Nico, we'll stay on here for a couple minutes. But you guys saw the pro do it, and what, Nico? I think you did that in like 20 minutes. So
yeah,
pretty awesome.
Really quick, you guys. So you guys can absolutely do this, even if it's your first time. Like, definitely, you can knock out something like this in a weekend. Definitely even less if you're more familiar with it already. Dipankar says, though, is there a possibility to track the user has watched the webinar and they haven't taken an action, then send them a message the next day? Do you have any questions, or you can join the program? So there's not currently a way to do that, Dipankar. It's a little bit tricky because MANYCHAT, it has a lot of integrations, but it doesn't really integrate directly with any webinar softwares yet. So that's a little bit tricky. That's kind of why we have to go in and actually like ask them those questions, like did you watch the webinar? Yes or no? And of course, like they could lie, sure. The people who are going to like lie about that, like if they say no or whatever, or if they say yes, they watched it, but they didn't actually watch it, then like they're obviously not interested anyway, and they're not our ideal customer. So for right now, that's kind of the best option. Devin says, so when someone goes to Adam's website and clicks on a link, why would you attach a bot to that instead of the course purchase page? Adam, do you want to address that?
To make sure, Devin, you understand how this works is they're going to the blog. As soon as they click to register on the blog, it's taking them to the bot. And the bot is then, feeding them back into the webinar presentation. I don't want people to go to my purchase page because they haven't seen the presentation and they haven't got sold and I haven't showed them how I can help them and they haven't seen that yet. Then they're not going to buy. It's like, I mean, people aren't going to buy what they don't know. They need to be sold it, right? And they need to be presented it, right? So if we were to just take them straight to the purchase page, it's like, well, they don't really know what they're buying. So it wouldn't make sense exactly.
Right, and especially for the program, it's like, minimum $2,000. They're probably not just, if they're not really sure what it is, like, and they just click to the order page, like very, very low chance that they're going to buy it. And like you guys who joined the bots course on the webinar, like if we had just sent you instead of to a webinar, just to a checkout page, you'd be like, well, what is this? Like, why the heck do I even need this, right?
Right.
So totally. Cool. So Devin says, cool. So you're stringing them along, so they're 100% in, right? Cool. So does anyone have any last minute questions? We're coming up on 7 p.m. Eastern right now. So if any of you guys have any last minute questions, go ahead and drop them in. And for those of you guys who are on here right now, and anyone who's watching the recording, I'm gonna add the recording, and I'm also gonna be able to add the chatbot download link so you guys can have all of that, and Adam's share funnel link into the membership area of the course, so you guys will all have access to that too. Awesome. Caleb says ClickFunnels looks awesome. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome, Caleb. Highly, highly recommend it. And yeah, let us know if you guys have any questions. Looks like everyone's all good for right now. Thanks so much, Adam, for being on here. Really, really appreciate it. I know you're on a vacation right now, so we appreciate you making the time to help us out with this.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. This was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. So let us know, or let me know in the private Facebook group if you have any more questions. But this will be uploaded into the course members area. Well, I'll let you guys know when it's uploaded, but it takes a little time to process the video. But everything else should be up there tomorrow at the latest. Punkar says run the sequence for 3 days. Yes. So it's first message goes out on the first day, the second message goes out on the second day, final message goes out on the third day. All right, cool, you guys. Thanks again, Adam, for being here, and thanks you guys for joining on the call. And you guys will have access to this information in just a bit. All right. All right. Thanks, you guys. Okay, we're signing off now. Take care, everyone.